Hello everybody, how's it going? On behalf of Roman Technology, my name's Phil Begno, and this is my Q&A video. Stay tuned. So I asked you guys to send me questions via YouTube comments as well as Twitter and Facebook, and I actually got a whole bunch of questions, so I want to thank all of you guys for sending them in. Now, if your question isn't answered in this video, I apologize. I will have another Q&A coming up fairly soon, so you guys can go ahead and get the head start on it by leaving comments below with your questions. So let's get on with the first question, and it comes from one of my friends in real life, Grant from Woolly World, and he asked me, how long have I been making YouTube videos, and do I ever look at my old videos kind of as if they were baby pictures or something? I've been making YouTube videos for 7 years now. I started this channel on March 2nd, 2008, I believe. So it's been quite a long time since I've been behind a camera. I did have a 3-year break in there, so keep that in mind. And then I think I had another break that was like 6 months or to a year, something around there. So there were some times where I was inactive, but I've still been making YouTube videos for quite some time, and I've loved it every step of the way. As far as looking back on my old videos, I always feel it's important to look back to see where you started, but for the most part I like to look forward and kind of see how I can make things better. So yeah. Next question comes from my man over at Tech Smash. I'll leave his link down below in the video description. He asked me, screen resolution over battery life and performance, or battery life and performance over screen resolution. Now, I'm going to answer this by saying my battery life and performance beats screen resolution to a certain extent. I feel like there has to be something to work with as far as screen resolution. I've come to this after using this as my daily for about 24 hours before giving up. This was originally going to be my next 30-day challenge. It's the BlackBerry Bold Touch, or BlackBerry Bold 9900, and I was going to use it for 30 days, but I threw in the towel already, mainly because of the operating system. But also, that's a tiny little screen. Do I think I can make it work with a screen like this? Maybe. But I feel like having a 720p screen at least would be a godsend on this device. So that's going to be my answer. While I don't feel the screen resolution is the most important, and I would definitely pick battery life and performance over screen resolution, there has to be a happy medium. So yeah, thanks for the question, man. Next up, we have another question from YouTubers. This comes from my man Canoopsy on YouTube, and the basic question that they asked me is what inspired me to start making videos and why I started to make videos. So originally I started making videos because I was basically the IT department of my old middle school. I was helping everybody with their iPhones and everything. I was a jailbreaker back then, and I still kind of am to a certain extent, but I would jailbreak everyone's device for them. So I ultimately decided to start making videos so I could start sending them to people whenever people asked me questions. I got all of my information at the time from YouTube, from people like iPod Touch Master, the original one, iPod Touch Hacker, Ty's iPhone Help, Ty Moss. All of these people are people that I kind of started around the same time as. At least Ty Moss, I know we started at about the same time. And I kind of looked to them for inspiration as far as starting my videos and doing my videos in a certain style, so it all comes down to them. But ultimately I started trying to experiment with my own style, and now I'm here. So yeah, thanks for the question. Next up, we have a question from one of my in real life friends, and he asks me, new generation console preference, PS4 or Xbox One, and why? Now, personally, the number one thing that I look for in a console is kind of the online experience, and going with that I also look at what do my friends have, because I'm going to be spending most of my time playing video games with other people over Xbox Live or PlayStation Network, stuff like that. Now, judging just based on what all of my friends had kind of helped me make the decision to go with the Xbox One. It's just what all my friends have. I do have the PlayStation 3 because I do have friends on PlayStation as well, and as far as the gameplay experience-wise, I grew up using PlayStation. My first real console, like, that was only my own, was a PlayStation 2, which I'm actually looking at right now. That's why I keep looking this way. But it was a PlayStation 2, and since then I've used mostly PlayStation, except for when the Xbox 360 came out. I had it for a lot longer than I had the PlayStation 3. So ultimately I have to go with the Xbox One just because of it's what I'm familiar with, even though I'm definitely familiar with PlayStation as well as it's just what all my friends use, so I decided to stay with that. But also I really do love the console, don't get me wrong, it's a great console all the way through and through. Next up, we have a question from one of my fraternity brothers who asked me, how big of a factor is growing up with family and friends who use a certain brand? So if you grow up in an environment where all your family and friends use Apple devices or use a certain brand of other devices. And this is actually a really good question. It got me thinking a good bit. You know, growing up in my family had really strong brand loyalty towards Dell. Now, my mom's work, where she works, they only use Dell machines. So everything that they ever bought when they were buying for us, they based it off of what they used, which was Dell. So, you know, kind of overcoming that and going into another brand was always a bit difficult. My parents really never had all that much faith in kind of other devices. So I was the first person in my family to buy an Apple device, and it was actually right after my 13th birthday, with my 13th birthday money, I got my first iPod. First Apple device to ever be into this house, with the exception of a really old Macintosh SE that was for like my brother or something that just kind of, I've never used, they never used, it just kind of stayed there. But yeah, so and since then I've been slowly converting everyone in my house to Apple. You know, they all use iPhones now. My parents have their Dell desktop still, but they also have a Mac Mini. Of course, I have my Macs in here. My sister has a Mac. You know, I've kind of slowly converted everyone over to Apple, but I've also tried to allow them to keep an open mind and try to make their own decisions. Oftentimes they would just listen to me as if my word is principle, which, you know, I guess I don't have a problem with. Next up, we have from another one of my fraternity brothers, what has been your favorite addition from a recent major iOS update? Now, there have been a lot of really nice updates. Basically, I think when I think a recent iOS update, I think everything from iPhone 4S and Siri on. So with that being said, just being the pixel geek and the design geek that I am, I have to go with kind of the flat interface. Now, I feel like the icons just look so much better than they did on the older versions of iOS. Everything just looks so much better, the UI looks so much better, so most of my favorite things are completely visual. But I do also like how they implemented iMessage on here as well as on the other devices, as well as being able to see if you have phone calls and regular text messages as well on a Mac when they come in through iOS. So those are my main things that I have to say as far as recent iOS updates with my favorite features. Alright guys, so that's it. Like I said, if I didn't get to your question, I apologize. I'll definitely try to do another one of these where I can get to more questions. If you guys have a question for me, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below, and I'll either answer it in text form or in the next Q&A video. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter and Facebook as well, so you guys know whenever I'm doing this type of video. I'll have links to everything down below, so I can make it simple for you guys. So as always, on behalf of Roman Technology, I've been Phil Begno, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.